This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Mercedes' struggles have been obvious for everyone to see this season. They've gone from winning 8 consecutive constructors titles and 7 drivers titles during that time to not even being close to contesting either. They have 2 of the best drivers on the grid piloting their cars, so you can't blame them for the problems. The issues lie with the car. But what are they actually doing to improve things? Could they stick on some side pods, or is that not part of the issue at all? Let's find out. After dominating F1's turbo hybrid era since 2014, Mercedes is yet to win a race so far in 2022, after not having an easy time getting on top of its W13 car. It spent months trying to tame the extreme porpoising that was hampering progress for Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, but has recently enjoyed an uplift in form after finally opening up a positive development direction. It is too little too late now to make any attempt at competing for a title this year, but the team are taking the positives where they can. The Brackley-based squad admits that the start of the year was tough to deal with, but like other troubled moments it has had in the past, the team bounced back and sees value in such times. Mercedes head of trackside engineering Andrew Shovlin told the media the team has a mentality of thriving from problem solving, even if things have been difficult on occasion. It is enjoyable to have a very different challenge, he said. There were certainly parts early in the year that weren't enjoyable, and that within the team was quite stressful, and more than we would have asked for. But actually, engineers like having problems to solve, and there were also periods where we were dominant, and we didn't really have any close competition. Then it did become a bit dull and a bit predictable. So all these challenges are actually what help stretch you. I'm sure you Mercedes fans are happy the team are enjoying themselves, but would be happier if they were winning races. When you're in a position like Mercedes is at the moment though, you have to keep morale up and take the positives where you can. Sure, they might have dropped the standards from where they were the last 8 years, but it could be much worse. At least they can enjoy it. Shovlin continued by saying, "At the moment, we have got a good development rate, and if we can develop our way back to the front, I think the team will get its confidence back. But so far this year, it's just been a case of rebuilding the confidence of a team that was very strong, and that has had a bit of a shock. So it's been a difficult but good challenge for us." Before we talk about what Mercedes are planning, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. We're currently using it to create a website for our community, and some of the features have been incredibly useful. Their members area makes it super easy to monetize content and make your website not just a passion project, but a profitable project as well. The commenting features that you can integrate into your website means you can interact with your community with ease and build an online presence that people can recognize. How do you know what content to post though? Well, the analytics tells you what drivers or teams' content gets viewed the most, so you can tailor your future features to generate the most traffic. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/gpculture to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. We would love to see what you guys create and share it with our community. Right, back to Mercedes. They've been targeting a race win this year, something that Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff have been incredibly vocal about. But Mike Elliott recently said they might be forgetting about 2022 now, and instead focusing on their plans for next year. "We want to try and fight Ferrari for that P2 position. We want to try and win a race this season, or multiple races ideally. But most of all, we want to get ourselves back on track so we're fighting properly for a championship next year." That's not any disrespect to our opposition. We've got fantastic opposition. But that's what we really need to do, because we want to be back there. We want to be challenging for championships because that's what we are about. Winning a race this year does mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. It won't make up for the disappointing season the team has had. It won't change the fact that Lewis Hamilton has had the worst season of his career either. Why would they devote attention to this season now when next year has to be the priority? "We have to be realistic. That Red Bull is almost unbeatable," Hamilton said after Monza, and the team are taking that to heart. The goal now is to beat Max Verstappen in 2023. But how are they going to do that? The RB18 is unbeatable, and Mercedes have a lot of catching up to do if they intend on closing the gap. According to George Russell, the team were exploring numerous options for their 2023 car. Russell, who continued his run of top 5 finishes with a podium in last weekend's Italian Grand Prix, has scored 203 points this season, just 23 less than Valtteri Bottas scored in his last season for Mercedes. Asked whether Mercedes will change their radical design for 2023, Russell said, "I think nothing's off the table. For sure, we've got a pretty unique design with the side pods. It's not off the cards that we will continue with that design, but it is equally not off the cards that we will completely change philosophy. But ultimately, whether we have the wide side pods or the narrow side pods, that isn't the performance differentiator. There's more to it." Russell says it there. The side pods aren't the problem. In Formula 1, it's easy to become obsessed with the details you can see and assume that is the whole story. This season more than ever though, it's the details you can't see that are most important, especially the underfloor. Mercedes' floor edges, the only part we've been able to see all season, started off incredibly simplistic and have slowly gained complexity as the season has gone on. This might be a hint to where their problems have been this year. Toto Wolff has said they were overconfident coming into the season, and perhaps they underestimated the importance of the new ground effect floors in the overall car design. A complete change in philosophy from the team should start from the ground up, quite literally. It may be that we see the no-pod side pod design next season, but the floor will be where the biggest changes happen. We've heard a lot from Mercedes this year that they know what the problem is, only for the next race to be awful for them, and Toto Wolff to say we don't know what happened. More recently though, they seem to have been more humble with their answers on tough weekends. Russell said the team now knows the underlying reasons why they are struggling so much at some tracks, and he explained that there's no overnight solution. "I think we understand exactly why at circuits like Zandvoort and Budapest, why we were competitive, and we understand why at circuits like Monza and Spa we were uncompetitive. That doesn't mean that we can solve the issue overnight, but we've got to keep on developing this car, and next year will sort of be an evolution of this. And I think now we do have a totally clear direction of how to develop the car. There is plenty of time between now and the start of next season. Mercedes need to really dig deep into the issues they are having and work out why they can't keep their car from bouncing. More importantly though, they need to work out how to make it more aerodynamically efficient. We think both these issues may come back to the floor again. Red Bull have had the most complex floor all season and are also the most aerodynamically efficient car on the grid. If they're creating a larger portion of their downforce through the floor like we think, then that may be the key to their aerodynamic efficiency. If Mercedes can get their floor working properly, then they should get a reduction in drag, and hopefully Toto Wolff will stop describing the car as a barn door. A reason their floor hasn't been working as well as they wanted is because the team had to raise the ride height of their car due to the porpoising and bottoming out they were experiencing. A very unforgiving suspension and chassis hasn't helped the problem either. Mercedes are regularly seen changing suspension elements during FP1 in an attempt to get their cars as stiff as possible without breaking the new anti-porpoising regulations. George Russell spoke of a development direction that the team had found, which was incredibly promising, and we are confident it's related to their suspension and making it more forgiving. This will help ease the bouncing the team have struggled with and make the car easier to run in the optimal ride height window that they need to be as fast as possible. The team now has to work incredibly hard to install and test the changes they've found. They have so much catching up to do to Red Bull if they want to compete next season. Winter definitely isn't going to be a holiday for the team in the factory. They're going to be flat out until the first testing session of 2023, when we might finally get a chance to see just how much they've changed. Want to know more about what's happening in F1? Then click the video on your screen and I'll see you there.